So guys, how about we play a little game? I've got some stats written down here on some paper. I'm going to read you 4 very simple stats and you have to guess which Scarlet and Violet set that I'm talking about. So we're talking about mainline Scarlet and Violet sets here, guys, and the first stat is it sits in second place for most illustration rare cards in the set with 34. It is in first place for most SIR cards, special illustration rare cards, with 9. And it is the 4th most valuable set. And finally, the price of the booster box sits in last place. Even Obsidian Flames cost more than this booster box. Well done if you got it right. We're of course talking about Paradox Rift. Now, I think Paradox Rift is the most underrated set from the Scarlet and Violet era, and it's not even close. I really do think it's massively underrated. And even though the booster box sits at 170, which to be fair is more or less MSRP, it's incredibly hard to find MSRP items right now, but this just shows just how good a value this set is. So this Groudon card right here is without a doubt one of my favorite cards from the entire Scarlet and Violet era. Not even talking about just illustration rare cards, I am talking about all types of cards. This Groudon right here, the artwork with it as well, could quite easily be a cover art for a Ruby game. Phenomenal card, very beautiful. I love the color scheme. I love how well Groudon fits into the terrain in the background of the card. Phenomenal, beautiful card. As we see here, $100 US is what this piece of cardboard will cost you right now. And yes, I get it. You could say illustration rare card. This is not normal. That's very expensive. True, but as you'll know, there's another set in Scarlet and Violet, a very good one at that is led by a very infamous illustration rare card. Now, of course, I'm referring to Paldea Evolved and the infamous illustration rare card that is Shinji Kanda's beautiful Magikarp. Now, as we see here, the Magikarp here going for over $200 US and quite comfortably leads the way with this set, right? As you see, there's not an SIR card on here until we get to Chiyu EX here at only $30 odd. So remember how good everyone considers Paldea Evolved to be, how it's without a doubt one of the best sets from the entire Scarlet and Violet era. This is just proof right here that an IR card, not an SIR, an IR card or a plethora of good IR cards can really lead the way for a set and push it to be one of the best sets from the era. Just want to say a quick hello and welcome to all of the new members on the channel that appear day by day, and to those of you that don't know who I am, my name's Will and I love to talk about the Pokemon TCG, and I'll put out a new video every other day. So if this sounds like something you would enjoy, please feel free to hit that subscribe button, as I'd love to have you here. But on the subject of SIR cards, special illustration rare cards, it doesn't mean that Paradox Rift doesn't have any. As we know, it has the Roaring Moon EX card here, which is a fabulous piece of art. I really do love how this card looks. Roaring Moon is just such a cool Pokemon as well, right? Who doesn't love a flying sort of dragon style Pokemon? And of course, it's a different version of Salamence from Generation 3, which again is a fan favorite loved Pokemon. You can't go wrong with Roaring Moon. It's a fabulous card. And as we can see here, only $60. For this Roaring Moon EX, an SIR card, I think it's more due to the fact that it's Paradox Rift, right? As I said, Paradox Rift for me is extremely underrated. And therefore, I don't think if the set doesn't get much love, the cards within it aren't going to get too much love either. Yes, of course, Groudon has got quite a bit of love and it's the second most expensive IR card from the entire S&V era, but the SIR cards still haven't had their flowers yet. They haven't had their day yet. In my opinion, this card should be more expensive than $60, especially in the market we're in right now. And we're also going to talk about another SIR card now. That, of course, being the Altaria EX. This is a fantastic card. I love this one. I really do. The color scheme in this card, the greens, the blues. Altaria was always in my team when I went through Generation 3 as a little boy. So I have a soft spot for Altaria, but I love the way, again, the background, the atmosphere suits the Pokemon in the picture. I just think this is phenomenal. And as you may know, this is a bit of a story card. We'll get into that later. I do love a story card. For those of you that don't know, that's what I dub cards, where 2 or more cards come together to kind of paint a picture or tell a story. So we'll get into that in a little bit. But again, fabulous looking card, right? Beautiful colors. Very beautiful card. And again, only $65 US. Has had its flowers recently, as we can see here. If we pull up the 6-month graph, we'll see it was only mid $20 the latter part of 2024, and with the turn of the new years, we'll see here going into January, it really took off, and so it should. For me, this card is deserving of a higher price than $60, especially with some of the crazy prices we see right now. It's just a fantastic looking SIR card. Just to kind of show you some figures, some facts to kind of back up the points that I made at the very beginning of the video when we played that little game. You'll see that Surging Sparks, of course, we're just going through the mainline sets here. Surging Sparks leads the way as the most valuable set from the era at $1,700 US. Second place, we have Paldea Evolved at $1,300. Then Twilight Masquerade, again at $1,300, but about $30 cheaper than Paldea Evolved. And after that, we have in fourth place, as I said at the beginning, Paradox Rift, just shy of $1,200. So as you'll see, Paldea Evolved, considered one of the greats of the eras, one of the best sets in the entire Scarlet Violet era, only $150 more in total value than Paradox Rift. Now, $150, yes, decent amount of money. When it comes to total value of sets, $150 isn't the biggest difference, to be honest. Paradox Rift isn't far off in terms of total value from some really strong sets in the Scarlet and Violet era. And also, just to quickly support the fact about how it has 34 illustration rare cards, the second most in the entire era, and also 9 SIRs being the most in the era, talking about mainline sets. You'll also see here, I have a list thanks to Cerebi.net here, that fantastic website. We have a list in order of release going from the most recent backwards, and also the amount of cards in the set. As you'll see, if you look at them yourself going through, Surging Sparks comes close with 250. You will also see here Paldea Fates has 245. Paradox Rift with 266 is in fact second place, as right here we have Paldea Evolved, 279 total cards. So when we look at all of these things we've been through, the stats, the figures, etc., we put it together and it makes you wonder, why is this set so cheap? You know, we're talking about a set with the second most amount of cards in the entire set from the entire era with 266. That's a lot of cards to chase, including 34 illustration rares. We know how great illustration rare cards are right now. We know how sought after they are, how expensive they can be. This set has the second most in the entire era behind Paldea Evolved, and first in the most amount of SIR cards with 9, which is phenomenal. It's also the fourth most expensive set in the entire S&V era, considering just mainline sets. So it really does beg the question, why is this so cheap? It's the cheapest booster box on the market. It really is a massively underrated set. Now, I do want to give some kind of honorable mention to some other cards in the set, because it's not all about Groudon, Roaring Moon, Altaria, EX. Yes, they're three very good cards. They're the three most expensive cards in the set, but there's a plethora of other beautiful cards in there. So starting off with this Garchomp card here. Now, yes, I get it. It looks a bit kind of full arty-ish, right? There's not a lot going on in the background, which separates it from looking like a full art card. But with that being said, I still do appreciate the color scheme, which I think looks very nice, those blues and those greens. And it's still Garchomp, which, as we know right now, is very relevant. With the release of Heatwave Arena, one of the top chase cards in that set is, of course, Cynthia's Garchomp EX, which will be in Destined Rivals in English. So very relevant Pokemon right now, and a very fan favorite Pokemon. And if we're talking about Paradox Rift, I couldn't not include the boy here, Steelix. Fantastic looking piece of art. Now, as we'll see here, if I pull up the 6-month graph, you'll see only a few months ago, it was sitting at around $16 US, so it has more than doubled in value as it's reached over $35 US, and it deserves it. I think it's a fantastic piece of art. I love when it's kind of Pokemon in their element, kind of helping out where they would be useful, right? I know there's an Excadrill as well, helping in, or not actually helping, but he's sitting in a cave with some other miners, assuming they'd just be mining all day. And that's my type of card. I really do appreciate that, right? And Steelix here is, of course, doing that, helping out on the construction site, lifting things up or lifting people up to that top level. Fantastic piece of art. Just some more honorable mentions. I want to touch on Mantyke here, because this is a special one. Not only is it a very beautiful illustration rare card, but this is the first time that Mantyke has received a card in the TCG since 2007. Yes, with the release of Diamond and Pearl back in May 2007, there was a Mantyke card in there, but we haven't seen another one since. Therefore, that's quite a special card, right? I mean, that's a long time to be out of the TCG. Therefore, that means Mantyke does have some kind of importance to it. Now, I couldn't finish the video without touching on story cards. Now, I've mentioned this before, and these are my favorite types of Pokemon cards. And that's when, as I said before, 2 or more cards come together to create a bigger image. And a great example of this would be this Plusle card here and this Minun card here. So if I come out the bigger image and you see them both here, side by side, you'll see that when you put them together, they create a bigger image. Another good example of this would be the Latios and the Latias EX card from Surgeon Sparks. As we know, when you put them together, they create a bigger image, and I'm a big fan of these types of cards, right? Also, another example of this, as I was mentioning earlier with the Altaria EX card, I said that it links up with a different card in the set, and that is this Swablu card here. Now, the story goes, it depends on what you want to believe. I mean, this sounds quite nice. I like to believe this story, but this Swablu here, as you see in center, surrounded by some Wingulls, was adopted or got lost when he was young and was adopted by a group of Wingulls. Now, after that, Swablu got older, evolved, but didn't forget about his pals who adopted him when he was young. And that's when we have this Altaria card here. As you'll see in the background, there's many Wingulls flying around with Altaria. Therefore, that as the story goes, Swablu as a youngster got lost, adopted by some Wingulls, grew up, evolved, turned into Altaria, and didn't forget about his mates. He carried on flying with them, and I just think it's a fantastic piece of art. Both of them, right? Both the same kind of artwork, both very blue, greeny kind of theme, and I just love how the two cards come together. Anyway, guys, I've spoken a lot about Paradox Rift, the price of the booster box, had a look at some of the chase cards within it, some honorable mentions to some other really cool cards in the set, as well as comparing Paradox Rift to some other really strong sets within the Scarlet and Violet era, how it weighs up against them, and why I believe there's stats there to prove why that it's very undervalued right now, very underappreciated, and that means there's plenty of room for growth in the future. So I'm interested to know what your opinions are, guys. Of course, when it comes to if I think a set is undervalued or underappreciated, it's a matter of opinion. Therefore, you guys might not agree, but if that's the case, let me know in the comments down below just what you think, and we'd be happy to talk it out there with you guys. Anyway, that does conclude things for today, guys. So as always, if you are still here, still watching, I greatly appreciate that. Thank you so much for your support, and if you have enjoyed the video, please don't hesitate to leave a like, as it's greatly appreciated. So guys, if you feel like perhaps watching a couple other videos of mine, you can watch one right here where I showcase 10 cards under the price of $20 that would be fantastic purchases right now in this crazy market, or this video right here where I discuss the Sun and Moon era and how it's been absolutely flying lately. Anyway guys, my name is Will, this is PokeCharla, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.